Hello FPL managers and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be looking at the top 5 choices on who I think you should start the season with in your defense. So I've mentioned this before, I personally am looking at 4 or 5. At the moment my squad has 5 premium players at the back. It looks like it's going to be a good year for defenders, definitely for value for their price compared to their points. So I'm going to give you my 5 suggestions on who I think you should start the season with in defense. So first off, it's a bit of a surprise one. Number 5, it's Azpilicueta, the 6 million Chelsea man. So hear me out. First of all, he's Mr. Consistent. In the last 3 seasons, he's scored 158 points, 175 points, and 170 points with 1 goal, 6 assists, and 16 clean sheets coming last year. He is really consistent. Chelsea, although that they are not doing too well at the moment, the last season and a half, he does still play a lot. They play pretty well, and defensively, they don't get smashed. They're still a top 6 side, and for 6 million you're getting a top 6 defender. But second of all, Lampard is back. He's now the Chelsea manager. He likes a 4-2-3-1 4-3-2-1 formation, and it's already been in the works that world-class ball-winning midfielder Kante will be back as a ball-winning midfielder, which must mean more clean sheets and more possession for Chelsea. He also prefers more compact defending to push the opposition out wide, whilst also ordering his players to press and harass their opponents from the forwards. And the midfield especially will be running around to enforce high pressure play. And this requires players with lots of energy to constantly chase that ball, something which Chelsea's midfield has. So again, defensively they should be a lot more sound. Third of all, he's overlooked. Many see Chelsea this season as a hazard. Pun intended. They have a transfer ban, they have a new, quite inexperienced manager. There doesn't seem to be a good bit of team bonding there. Attacking players are not even worth more than 7.5 million, and of course, no Hazard. But looking at their squad, especially defensively, it's still really solid and experienced. You've got Azpilicueta, David Luiz, Alonso, Christensen, Rudiger, Zuma's back now, Zappacosta, Emerson. That's their whole defensive department, and just those names show you that they still have a lot of depth and experience. So if you are looking for a top consistent defender that others might overlook, because Chelsea seems to be the team to avoid so far this season, then Azpilicueta is a solid option. Moving on to number 4, and I'm going to go for Nathan Ake, 5 million at Bournemouth. So he's my outside shot, my sort of player to back if you're not going big in defense. Most are spending big bucks at the back, but if you're not and you need the extra man, I don't feel that he is a bad option. He's actually been courted by some clubs, some top clubs. I know they've said even Pep Guardiola is an admirer of him, so if they miss out on Maguire, they could move to Ake, and for 5 million that would be a crazy deal. So he might not even be at Bournemouth come transfer deadline day, but I'm suggesting him as the best non-premium defender, a defender for 5.5 million or less. So there are a few 5.5 to 6 million defenders for good value. 5.5 is a bit of a grey area, the likes of Trippier and Wan-Bissaka, but Wan-Bissaka will play, but United concede. Trippier, he's not nailed on yet, talks of him still going to Italy. Is it going to be him or Aurier, because Trippier had a bit of bad form? So for me, the best value for 5.5 or less is probably for Ake, if you're not going to go up to that 6 to 7 million ranked player. But of course we know Bournemouth are a bit leaky at the back, but their opening fixtures look good. And you're also looking for his attacking returns. Last season he did get 4 goals and an assist, and he had 52 touches in the opposition penalty area. In the first 10 game weeks as well, they only have 2 red fixtures, and the first 2 games of the season are against the 2 promoted sides. So 10 clean sheets last season, good opening first 10 games, and the first 2 games of the season, they're against 2 promoted sides. So for me, again, he's pretty consistent. He did get the exact same points as Wan-Bissaka last year as well. Of course, he played a few 100 minutes more, but not that much. But there you go. For me, best sub 6 million option for me would be Ake. I wouldn't play him every week, but I definitely would start the season with him because those first 10 fixtures look pretty good. And like I said, first 2 games of the season are against Sheffield United and Aston Villa. Into the top three now, and I'm going to be suggesting Dean, 6 million at Everton. So he was the 8th best defender last season with 4 goals and 5 assists and 13 clean sheets. This guy takes free kicks, and Everton has an easy start to the season. So in the first 14 game weeks for Everton, they only have 2 red difficult fixtures at home and 8 green fixtures. So first of all, Everton's amazingly great fixture start to the season makes him very attractive. He was 8th last season. He gets goals, he gets assists, he takes free kicks. Already, he should be really in the forefront of your mind to be putting in your defence. He's also 6 million, so he is almost a premium price. He's not 6.5 or 7 million. He's up there in the 6, but if you want to save money, you don't want to go 6.5 or 7. He's another good option. He's a little bit cheaper. He also had 900 touches in the opposition final third, 33 in the opposition box, 34 goal attempts, and was one of the most crossing players in Europe's top leagues last season with 280 crosses and a success rate of 79%, whilst creating 13 big chances. Now, if he can replicate that kind of form this season and Everton buy a top striker, he could be in the money for you for FPL points this season. If you do need to save money, then Coleman is there at 5.5 as well. Similar idea, obviously a little bit less than Dean. But for me, 6 million with all those crossing stats and touching stats and attempt stats. And we know last season it was either he scored 15 points or -2. That was if he can get that kind of consistency and experience that. Again, he's here again for this season. It's his 2nd season. If he can replicate those attacking threat points that he scored last season, and Everton bring in a proper finisher. I'm not trying to disrespect Tosin or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but Everton need that killer striker like when they had Lukaku. I've said this before on the channel as well, if Lukaku had stayed at Everton and had Dean crossing the ball to him, he's a 20 goal plus season minimum player right there. So if Everton can sign another big striker like that, he could be an excellent shout. So great fixtures, good price. He's just shy of the 6.57 million range, and really, really good attacking stats, and he takes free kicks as well. Up to number 2 now, and we're getting to the sort of easier choices, the very popular ones, and the ones that everyone must be starting the season with some of these players. And number 2 is Laporte, 6.5 million at City. I would also take a look at Walker for 6 million, Mendy for 6 million, and Zinchenko for 5.5 million. But this guy right now is the only 100% we know will start in week 1 player, which is rare for Manchester City. So a lot of people are saying Walker, but there's talks of them signing Canelo. There's Mendy at 6 million or Zinchenko at 5.5, but we don't know who is definitely right now going to start the season. We might know during pre-season, but again, just with Pep's rotation, you don't know. In pre-season, it's probably going to be Mendy and Zinchenko doing pre-season. Maybe it's going to be 50-50 or Mendy plays a little bit more, but first week of the season he'll probably play some youth player at left back that we don't know, because that's just Pep. But Laporte should be starting in week 1. He was the 4th best defender last season with 18 clean sheets, but also 3 goals and 3 assists shows that he does have some attacking threat too. Most people feel a little bit uncomfortable. I definitely feel uncomfortable with too many outfield Man City players, but you kind of need 3 City players, and for me, Laporte is the definite. Him and Sterling are sort of the 2 outfield players that you feel will definitely be key and starting the season. And Laporte is their big man at the back. So 6.5 million, loads of clean sheets. Man City are probably going to be dominating the league again with Liverpool. They're going to be probably the 2 big teams again this season. So for 6.5 million and you're looking for points at the back, he's definitely the one to go for as well. And finally, number 1, before people get out the torches and pitchforks and try and hunt me down, this one is a little bit of a cheeky one, because my number 1 is 2 out of 3 Liverpool defenders. So you're not going to use all 3 slots for Liverpool. Similar to Manchester City, you probably need 3 Liverpool players, and I'm not going to suggest using all 3 in defence. So the 3 players in question are, of course, Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, both of them 7 million, and Van Dijk at 6.5. Now, of course, I personally would do 2 Liverpool defenders and Salah. I think a lot of people are going for this sort of idea as well, and you can't blame them. These are the biggest, huge attacking and defensive potentials in the game right now, and they're only 7 million. This is why as well that 5 at the back is looking more likely, or 4 at the back at least, premium 4 at the back is looking more likely this season, because you're spending 7 million on players that score huge points compared to a 7 million midfielder that might get you around the same. So 2 out of 3 of these Liverpool defenders, I personally would recommend Robertson and Virgil van Dijk. That's because, first of all, it saves you that 0.5 to put somewhere else in your team. And second, for me, Alexander-Arnold, Klopp himself has said that he's played too many games this season, and I do see him sometimes, not often, but sometimes being rotated out or given a rest because he looks a little bit tired, or giving Gomez a chance. Let's not forget Gomez is a really young, high potential defender for Liverpool as well. But for me, Robertson feels like their staple and only left back. He's not really got anyone to change with. Virgil van Dijk is an incredible player. He's the rock, he's the leader at the back. He's not going to get rotated out. They need him to play pretty much every game. So for me, I would personally go Robertson and Virgil van Dijk. But obviously Trent played fewer minutes. If he would have played the same amount of minutes as the other 2 defenders, he would have been easily the highest FPL defender of all time. He had an incredible season. He takes free kicks as well. So if you are, to be honest, it's your personal preference here. 2 out of these 3 Liverpool defenders, and whichever 2 of the 3 that you're going to choose, or even 1 of the 3 you're going to choose, you are definitely going to see a great amount of returns from these players this season. So that was it for my top 5 defenders, or top 5 defending options for the first game week, starting off the game week. Remember, everything could change as soon as the games start. Maybe Liverpool have a horrendous start to the season. Maybe one of the players gets injured. Maybe they just bang out of form. But to start the game week 1 season, these are the choices I'm going to say. But of course, this could change even before game week 1 with pre-season. The players are now back in pre-season, so we'll be looking for their friendly fixtures coming out soon. So thanks for tuning in again, guys. I should be looking at the top 5 midfielders in the next video, so hopefully you guys will enjoy that as well. If you like it, maybe leave a like and subscribe. If you don't, put it in the comments below what you think was wrong about this video, and let me know your opinions in the comments below. So thanks a lot, guys, and as always, have a good one.